Hello, this is Michaela or Studious Octopus, and I'm here today finally doing my December 2017 UK GlossyBox catch-up, where I look back over the 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of use I've gotten out of the products rather than the initial excitement of a fresh new unboxing. This is a little late because I've just been really sick. I got the flu a couple of days after Christmas and it just seemed to keep going and I had an awful cough. I still have a little bit of a cough, I'm still a little bit sick, but I wanted to get on with getting this recorded and I'm mostly recovered. So December's box was the usual limited edition Christmas box. I got the feeling in the unboxing that I actually quite like it, and actually for the most part I have really liked the box. But I'm going to go through each item at a time. First off, we got the Neobe Equilibria Gel to Milk Cleanser, which I have been using every day and it's been going really well. I actually really like Neobe products almost every time we have them. They have lots of good natural ingredients, but they're still very fuss-free, very straightforward products. They're really lovely and usually not really that expensive. In this one, it's a full-size product that I think said doesn't come with the sort of the usual full-size sort of wood end piece, but I'm less bothered about that. And it was €14 for the full-size version, which I think I converted as like £12–13 at the time, which to me doesn't really seem that expensive considering you're getting lots of natural ingredients, lots of organic ingredients, and they seem really lovely. It was very interesting to use. It was a very sort of like an oil-based gel, and then yes, it would sort of become a milk texture when you mixed it more and more with water. It felt really lovely. It did feel like it was cleansing my skin absolutely without drying it out at all though, because you have all of those oils that I think this is supposed to contain. So I really like this. I always like getting a good Neobe product. Next up was the Lacquer & Co Cloud Lips, which I got to try a couple of times. When I got sick in earnest, I stopped obviously using makeup items. So I got the shade Daydream, which is this kind of beigey, nudie, rosy pink. I think the only thing I would say that I dislike about the colour is it's actually a little dark for my preference. So for my pale skin, it makes me look a little dead if I sort of full on layer it up, you wear the sort of the colour it is. But obviously you can wear lipsticks quite lightly and quite heavily, so I tended to wear it quite lightly. It does have a really nice, really comfortable matte finish. It's a lot like the Lord & Berry lip sort of chubby pencils that they do, where it has that formula that is a cross between a lip pencil, which is quite dry, and an actual lipstick, which is quite creamy. So it doesn't feel too creamy and too slick, but it stays on quite dry and it's quite comfortable. So I actually really like these formulas of lipstick. The only downside I think I would say with this and with the eyeliner as well, which I will get into, is that when we get products from abroad, specifically America, I tend to feel like they're not worth it because you have to pay for an American product, get it shipped over, the shipping isn't free, when a lot of the time you could probably find an equivalent product in the UK. So it is lovely and I do really like it and I will use it up and I love the packaging as well. But will I go on to rebuy it when it's a little bit more effort to rebuy when I could, buy something more based in the UK? Probably not. But lovely lipstick, and I do think probably worth the money. I think this was again like £13–14, something like that if you convert it from the dollar price. £12.70. That doesn't seem that bad a cost to me. Next up is the Kryolan Eyeshadow Primer. I've tried Kryolan products before, but never their eye primer, so I knew I could expect pretty good results. But I actually think out of the whole box, this is probably my favourite item. It has very fuss-free packaging. You get the product, you can see the product inside. It doesn't bother with lots of sort of prettiness or like a brush on the end of the primer, which I'm not so into because I find they get kind of gross after a while. I prefer the primers that are just like this, where it's straightforward and you'll just get the product that'll come out. And it is a little pricier, but what I've found for me is that it worked fantastically. I have very slightly hooded and slightly oily eyelids, so I do tend to find over time when I put on eyeshadow, you'll get that strip in the middle where the eyeshadow is just kind of fled because of the oiliness and because of the shape of my eyes. But if I use this primer, that absolutely doesn't happen. And I think this primer also, it doesn't seem to care whether you use like nice eyeshadows or cheap eyeshadows. It seemed to make all of my eyeshadows look nicer and last longer, which I think is fantastic and probably does absolutely make it worth it. I think this is about £20, £18. So it is a bit expensive for an eyeshadow primer, but when it makes everything else work really, really well, I think that's absolutely worth it. So I really like this. It is probably my favorite item out of the whole box. The next item was the Steve Laurent Precision Tip Liner in black. Like with the Cloud Lips lipstick, obviously this is an American product. It's not something that I particularly think you can get easy from a reseller in the UK. You would have to import it, which always puts me off of it, which is a shame because actually I quite like this. I haven't particularly been fond of felt tip liners before. I've used a couple of different ones and just haven't really liked them that much. I don't know if it's just me personally or the shape of my eyes or the sort of the looks that I prefer, but I thought this was really nice. It felt really easy to use. It's a very, very nice black. The tip was felt like it was like the perfect texture where it's soft enough that you can kind of smush it to your eye a little and then drag it along so it glides nicely, but it's firm enough that it keeps its very precise point. So it's almost like it has a very good texture. I really, really liked it. I think the only thing that I had occasional niggles with is putting the lid back on because it's quite a thin pen with quite a thin lid. I found anyway, I had to be really careful to get the tip into the lid to get the lid on, otherwise it would sort of spring back or it would get a liner around the edge. I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, I find the lid a little fiddly occasionally, but it's a lovely liner. I actually really like this. It's made me think better at least about black felt tip liners because I haven't enjoyed ones that I've used before. But it is a shame again that it is an American product that you'd have to import. But there we go, very pretty as well. I loved all of the very pretty packaging we got in the December box with the sparkly gold theme. Finally, the last item I got was a Lipsol lip balm compact, cute little compact with a nice mirror in the flavour Mandarin, which I thought would be really nice, but I was a bit disappointed that like the Sport FX one the month prior, this one also for me seemed to have a weird sort of almost sour, almost something aftertaste whenever you used it. I assume they have some sort of similar ingredient that sort of makes it have that taste. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't particularly agree with me, which is a shame because I like everything else about this. The compact is really cute and functional. The mirror is actually a quite nice size and you get a nice big pan of product, but just I didn't like the taste, and it's like that's the bit you're going to have every time you use it, so I haven't really enjoyed using it, and I'm probably not going to continue using it, which is a terrible shame. But in the grand scheme of things, with the box coming to £66, this was only worth £4.99. So for this to be, I would say, probably the worst item of the box because the aftertaste just doesn't agree with me. That I've still got about £60 worth of value out of the December box. So I actually think December's box was a fantastic success. I really loved the gel cleanser. The primer was my favourite item and the two makeup items were lovely. The only thing that was a shame was the lip balm, so there we go. So we had our January sneak peek of the rose facial oil, which I'm still looking forward to. I do have the box, I haven't opened it yet. The only thing I am a little wary of going into is I have seen the supplements. I have seen that there are 12 million reasons you can't take them, and also it's not something I particularly agree with generally, but we'll get into that when I do the unboxing. The unboxing is coming. I just have to catch up after being a bit sick. So thank you for watching. Thank you for coming with me on this catch up for the last box of 2017, and I will see you again next time. Hello, this is Michaela of Studios Octopus, and I'm here today recording the December 2017 UK GlossyBox unboxing. This should be a Hello, this is Michaela.
And this is Peter.
So we're going to be playing the Tomb Raider trilogy. This is the slightly fancy redone version for the